What is up, people? Dunna here, and today we're going to talk about one of the questions that I get asked probably every day somewhere, whether that be on Twitter or Instagram or in the DM somewhere or here on YouTube, and that is, what lens should I buy? Now, the tough thing about this is that it's very situational and it's a little bit different for every person. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of tips to decide on what lens you might want to buy next, or if you're looking into getting your first camera, what lens you might wanna get along with it. But before I get too far into it, leave a comment below and let me know if you were starting all over just one lens, what lens would it be? For those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you might know kind of what my basic kit is, but I'm gonna go through it just to give you guys an idea of the lenses that I have that are serving me well right now. Quick disclaimer, I shoot on SONY cameras with APS-C size sensors, so all the focal ranges that I'm gonna talk about for my lenses, if you're shooting full frame, you can multiply that by 1.5. So for example, if I say 16mm, you'll be looking for a 24mm. If I say 30, you'll be looking for 45. All right, got it? Here we go. The first lens in my kit is kind of my all-around lens, and that's my SONY 18-105 f4. This is the lens that if I don't know what I'm going to need, I throw this on the camera, and if I need to get something really quickly, it's got such a wide range of focal lengths that I can kind of get anything. Now that f4 is not ideal in certain situations. You can't get a super shallow depth of field, and it's not awesome in low light, but the versatility of the focal lengths that you can get with this thing make it awesome. The next lens is my wide angle lens, and this is my Sigma 16mm f1.4. I like to use this for landscapes. I like it on a gimbal. I like it for vlogging. Having a nice standard wide lens can be really handy in your kit. The third lens is the Sigma 56mm f1.4, and this is my go-to portrait lens. If I'm shooting portraits, it's gonna be on this one. And that's pretty much all this ever comes out of my bag for. And the final lens that's in my main kit is the Sigma 30mm f1.4 that I'm filming with right now. And this is its primary use. I film these kind of at home in this studio kind of setting videos with this lens. It's also great for street photography and product photography. I actually do use this one as a fairly versatile lens, but its main purpose, like I said, is filming these videos. I like the compression better than using the 16mm, which is really popular for YouTubers. Okay, so if that's my kit, what should you buy first? Let's pretend for a second that it's your first rodeo. You're about to go buy your first interchangeable lens camera. What lens do you get with it? My answer has always been and always will be a decent zoom lens. That's why I swear by this 18-105 f4 lens, because it's my all-around zoom lens. Because it goes all the way from a wide angle to a fairly telephoto angle, I can shoot nearly anything with this. Now the trade-off there is with zoom lenses, especially with inexpensive zoom lenses, you're not gonna get quite the same quality as what you would get with a nice prime. But the obvious advantage is that you don't have to change lenses to get all the way from a wide angle to a super zoomed in telephoto angle. For Sony APS-C users, I do highly recommend an 18-105. I think this is a really great lens. They've also got an 18-135 that covers a really wide range. But if you're not sure what to do and maybe that 18-105 or the 18-135 are a little too expensive for you, get the kit lens. It's a 16-50, so you've got everything from a wide angle that's great for vlogging and landscapes and those kinds of things, all the way up to a 50, which is great for portraits. What this thing lacks in the quality that you might see in significantly more expensive lenses, it makes up for in its versatility. Now, once you've got your camera and your zoom lens, here's what I want you to do. Go shoot. Just shoot a lot. What we want to do is kind of keep track of where you're using that lens the most. For example, if you find yourself shooting a lot wide open at 16 or 18mm, or if you find yourself always zooming in all the way, whether that be 50mm on the kit lens or 105 on the 18-105. This is going to be a clue for what your next lens should be. Whatever it is that you find yourself shooting in the most is probably the best area for you to invest in maybe some really nice prime lenses around that same focal length. A lot of people are always asking me about the Sigma trio, the 16mm, the 30mm, and the 56, and which one they should get. And it's really tough to know without knowing who you are as a videographer or photographer and what kind of things you shoot. So for me, if I was just starting out and I had a zoom lens and I was ready to take the next step into some prime lenses, the Sigma 16mm would probably be my next go-to. And the reason for that is because I shoot YouTube videos, I do some vlogging, and I shoot a lot of landscapes. I find myself at the wide end of that 18-105 a lot, so the 16 just makes sense. Now, obviously at this point, I've told you guys kind of what I would do if I was starting all over on the Sony APS-C system, but a couple of things that you can keep in mind when you're looking at new lenses, no matter what system you're on. Again, make sure you have a good, versatile lens. In my opinion, that's gotta be a zoom lens. Size and weight are super important factors in what you're gonna be doing with it, whether you actually wanna take them out of the bag and put them on your camera. Sure, you can go with some really big, heavy, fancy glass and it'll cost you an arm and a leg, but are you actually gonna wanna hold that thing for a long time? Make sure you figure out what kind of stuff you're shooting and match your lenses to that accordingly. Something that I kind of take for granted when I'm looking for lenses is autofocus. I don't really want to deal with manual focus most of the time. A lot of the time I'm filming myself, so I rely on autofocus to make sure it's keeping track of my face. But if you're just doing photography, or if you like doing the manual focus while you're doing videography, you could even look into some vintage lenses. For example, right there, I've got my Pentax camera and I've got some Pentax lenses. I just use a Pentax to Sony adapter, and it allows me to use my vintage lenses on my Sony cameras. So like I said, as long as you're willing to use manual focus, which is actually really nice with these old lenses, these can be super cheap. You can find them on eBay or you can find them at pawn shops. I have this 50mm and a 28mm sitting on that camera, and they've got a really cool character to them too. So when I get asked the question, what lens should I buy? There are a lot of things to take into consideration, and I hope that this video has kind of helped you to understand that and helped you to make a decision. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below, and again, let me know what you think your one lens should be. And on your way down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.